Hello everyone, welcome to Mind Blowing Health and Wellness with Violet, Pat Chat Edition. I'm Violet.
And I'm Pat.
We make these videos because Patrick finds interesting stuff online. I'm super excited to hear what you found this
Yeah.
time.
This week we're going to have fun, actually. We're going to talk about sugar, like pure sugar. Your curiosity speak, eh?
Okay.
The idea came from like a comment left from one of our viewer on a past video. The situation was, let's say, for example, that we know like calories are not important, but like we're gonna bring them on the table just for that chat. Let's say your body needs 2,500 calories in a day to function, basic functions. You don't work out, you're not super active, okay? Yeah. And I was like, okay, fine. And like the idea brought on the table was if you eat 2,000 calories worth of granulated white sugar, would you lose weight? Like at first I was like, oh, of course not. Be like but after that I was like, let's chat about that. Let's
So
talk
wait,
about
my
that.
body needs 2,500, but I'm eating 2,000, but it's purely sugar.
Pure sugar. So would like
And the
wouldn't
answer, so I know my answer already,
But the question is like, wouldn't I lose weight?
and I know my answer already.
So you know your answer. So
can I say my answer before you give the answer?
No, I'm
Oh,
not
come
going to
on,
give I'm not going to give an answer yet. So just like I was curious, like 2,000 calories worth of sugar, what would like
How many
physically
grams? How
look
many
like?
grams?
Yeah.
How many grams is that?
So one serving, 4 grams, 1 teaspoon of sugar is 15 calories. So I did my 2,000 calories divided by 15 calories. That gave me 133 teaspoons, or about 532 grams, or about 2.6 cups of sugar.
A pound and a quarter. Okay.
Okay? So go ahead. Like, would it work? Would you lose weight?
So theoretically, you would lose weight and then you would gain.
Okay.
So because your energy intake is still less than what your body needs, but your body will adjust.
Okay.
But the other piece of the puzzle though is like what's weird there. So this is me just working it through in my head, right?
By the way, I don't have an answer.
I'm eating
it's
all
like-
these carbs. My body's going to right away put it away as fat. But then I'm not eating anything else. I'm just eating sugar. Matter of fact, you know what? I'm backing up on my answer. I think you'd poison yourself.
Probably.
Actually, I think I'm backing up on myself. If I ate a full pound of sugar, I think I'd actually poison myself. Because the reason your body is putting away the sugar in the first place is because it's toxic.
So you wouldn't be able to put all that sugar.
It wouldn't,
in
your
one-
body wouldn't be able to put it all away. So I think you'd poison yourself. I'm backing up on my answer. I think I was wrong at first. I think you'd poison yourself.
I think that's like what like I kind of knew when I saw that comment, and I was like, I think I did answer that person, but like yeah, that was my first thing. Like the insulin spike, as high as it would probably not be enough to get rid of all that sugar in your system. Yeah. After that, like I was okay, let's go check some other sources what they say about sugar. Like when I was trying to find the nutritional information, 1 can of soda, not diet, your popular brand, has 41 grams of soda for 355 mils.
44 grams of carbs.
44 grams of sugar.
Yeah.
Sugar. Okay, so 150 calories, 41 grams of sugar. Just beside, you always have the percentage amount of like your daily blah blah, and that was 14%. So I was like, okay, interesting. 14% means having around 300 grams of carbs in a day.
Yeah, that's what we know that. Yeah, the average person. Yeah.
So based like on a 2,000 calorie diet, that would mean around 60% of your diet, like that should be, according to those guys, like nutritional guys, 60% of your diet.
Your energy is coming from sugar.
If you had, I don't know, like 40 grams of, maybe 40 grams is not enough. Let's say you have 40 grams of carbs coming from pasta, you probably still feel a little bit fuller than if you had like a soda. So my question was after that, I was like, would it be good for
Actually, I'm
those?
going to pause you there because if I eat 40 grams of carbs coming from soda or 40 grams of carbs coming from pasta, it doesn't change the fact that 2 hours later I'm going to be hungry. You might feel fuller in this moment,
Yeah.
but like it's still going to put it away, and then you're going to chase the carbs again because that's the problem that's actually happening there. It's not, like most people, and what's scary about soda is that I can drink it on top of a meal. Like that's what's scary about it. But like the reason I'm saying this is because I want to make sure people understand something. It's not because it doesn't taste sweet that it still doesn't get put away real fast and then your body pushes you to get more because the dopamine hit still happened. So that's the part where I'm pausing you there because like let's not like give ourselves the false impression that me calling it sugar or calling it carbs is actually changing what's happening in my body. The same thing's still happening.
Yeah. I know for sure that like a relative of mine got actually told by his doctor. Honestly, I think that person was drinking, I think 2 liters. I think it was even 2 bottles of 2 liters of soda per day. And the doctor said, like, if you keep going like that, you're going to be dead soon. Like, you have to stop.
Wow. Okay.
So that's interesting. So that led me actually to go, because in my research I found the Canadian Sugar Institute. So
there's a Canadian Sugar Institute?
There's a Canadian Sugar Institute.
I did not know that there was a Canadian Sugar Institute. Why do we need a Canadian sugar? I don't even know why we need that, but okay.
So from that Canadian like Sugar Institute, they have a page with like myth and the truth. So their truth about sugar. And we're gonna have some fun. So first myth: Canadians are eating more and more and more sugar. I don't know if they were talking only about Canadian. I thought that was true, but seems not. So on like their truth, on average, Canadians consumes 11% of energy from added sugars. And since we're talking about like wide granulated sugar, the Canadian Sugar Institute, we're talking about added sugar.
Okay, so hold on. Okay, I guess what they're saying is that, which if it's the truth, it's terrific. What they're saying is that Canadians add less sugar to their foods than, let's say, other people.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was kind of happy to hear about that, but then again, I was like back at my soda can from just the previous, like the other source, and already like it's at 14% or 40 grams. So 11% would be probably 35 grams. So Canadian seems they eat like around 35 grams of added sugar per day.
But again, I think we have to be careful because they're talking about white granulated sugar. So they might not be counting if I drank a can of soda. They might be talking how many times do you take a teaspoon and add sugar to your coffee or to your tea or to your cereal or to your fruit or all the silly places. All the places that I remember, all the silly places that I remember adding sugar to my stuff, right? Because I used to put it on my fruit. I used to put it. So like, I think because they're the Sugar Institute and they're talking about white granulated sugar, that's what they might be talking about. And yes, I do think there's probably a lot of people that have stopped adding sugar to those things. I was still doing it, to be honest. Before I started keto, I would have strawberries, and I'm just thinking about this. So funny,
but
add strawberries with sugar on them.
But I have a feeling like I'm just like reading at the same time. I have a feeling like they're talking about like if you read a nutritional label, like the sugar part. So
okay, I'm just
sugar. Let's go with that.
I'm just saying that to me, there's a possibility when they say it's less, they might be talking about like teaspoon of sugar. But okay, let's go.
So that kind of soda is already above like what the average Canadian like
14%. Is it?
Yeah, 14%. Sugar's consumption in Canada is about a third less than U.S. consumption when comparing dietary surveys that are from similar time frames. So interesting enough, like it seems in Canada we eat less sugar than the U.S.
Okay, well that's probably guessable.
So maybe like in Canada we're more sensitized to the bad effects of sugar than the U.S.
I don't know. I know what I do know is that when you, for example, eat a chocolate bar that's made in Canada and then you take the same exact chocolate bar from the US, they taste different. So I feel like foods that are made for us are actually made differently than foods that are made in the US.
Oh, yeah.
And so if in the US there's more sugar, then obviously they're going to eat more sugar because I don't think, but See, this is my sneaky suspicion. Do I actually believe that we eat fewer chocolate bars than they eat chocolate? Like, I think it's probably that just because there's less sugar in the chocolate bars that come here. That I think that might be that. The same way that if you go to Japan, the flavorings of the chips are different, right? So like I'm wondering, I'm wondering about that.
Myths: sugar makes you fat and is the leading cause of obesity. So
That's a myth.
That's a myth for them.
For
The
them.
truth: let's fix that myth. Sugar does not cause obesity. Too many calories from all foods, including sugars, can lead to weight gain.
Can
Lead to weight
so
gain.
just they're pointing it out because they're playing with words there, right? It can lead to weight gain, but of course, what's the leading food that leads to weight gain? Sugar. Of course, if you overeat fat, you'll get fat. If you overeat protein, if you overeat anything, yes, I've said that a bunch of times. But when you're talking about, but for them to say that sugar doesn't cause weight gain, that's a complete falsity.
Yeah.
And like, that's disappointing.
What we need to.
But again, it's the sugar.
The way to fix it is that fat and protein don't spike your insulin as much and won't trigger a storage of like that excess as much as if you eat carbs and if you eat sugar.
Yeah.
They base that truth on the fact that sugar is a type of carbs. We know all sugar provide 4 calories of energy per gram, whereas fat provides 9 calories of energy per fat. So to them,
Again,
like it's more calorie dense. So fat is more probable to cause weight gain.
But the problem is that they're doing that same thing. A calorie is a calorie, which is not the truth. If I eat the calories of 35 grams of fat and I eat the calories of 35 grams of carbs, the 35 grams of carbs is causing my body to store where the fat may not, right? And even if the fat does cause my body to store, if I've only eaten fat, it's not going to store at the level that it would have if I had eaten the carbs, because carbohydrates cause more of an insulin rise, and that insulin rise is what decides if you're going to store or not.
Yeah. That 35 grams of fat will make you feel fuller for a way longer period of time, compared also to that 35 grams of carb that's going to make you feel hungry.
But
right after.
in all fairness, no matter what you eat, it will rise your insulin, but there's a difference between a rise and a spike. Like protein and fat normally cause rises, although protein can cause a spike. I'm not going to lie about that. But sugars typically cause spikes.
Okay, so myth number 3. This one is interesting because it's not totally false, but I'm not sure where to want to go with that. Myth: our bodies use added sugar differently than other sources of sugar. And the truth being, added and naturally occurring sucrose is used the same way by the body as a source of energy. So whether you had granulated sugar, but I know why they want to go there. Like they want to sell that white granulated sugar instead of you using honey. But in the end, like in the body, is it like processed the same way?
So yes.
Yes. Huh?
Okay. But here's the but. Not every sugar source has fructose. Like if you get just glucose, that's healthier. And where can we get just glucose? Us. We make sugar. You don't even need to eat it, by the way. But when you eat sugar, it's actually 50-50, right? It's a glucose and a fructose together. Compared to, high fructose corn syrup, which is 40% fructose. So sucrose is actually, right? And but then like when you do things like natural sugar, so if you're eating fruit, there's fructose in it. And if you're eating, then there's all the other vegetables where you could be getting more glucose than fructose, and in which case you're doing better for yourself. So it's interesting because they're saying it's metabolized the same way in the body. Yes and no, because the less fructose you have in the source of your sugar, the healthier it actually is going to be for you, because fructose is only metabolized by your liver.
Yeah. But I really think their point, I wasn't not even like getting it at first, but like why, if you need some sweet, like for a recipe or something, why pay some expensive honey when you can have a cheap like granulated sugar? Basically, I think.
I'm trying to think. I don't remember what the composition of honey is though. Which sugars are there?
So myth number 4, sugar causes chronic diseases such as diabetes and heart disease. That's myth. Truth: The truth. Excess calories from all foods and beverages, including sugars, increase risk of obesity, a risk factor for other chronic diseases.
I can't believe that they're allowed to say that.
Yeah, they are.
Sugar increases insulin production, which then causes you to have more insulin in your body, which then causes insulin resistance, which then eventually turns into diabetes. I cannot believe, well, it turns into prediabetes and then diabetes. I cannot believe that they're allowed to have that written on a website and haven't gotten in trouble for that.
Because according to them, like even keto people would end up having, or maybe keto people that have a little bit too much fat or too much proteins would end up with diabetes and all those metabolic diseases.
But diabetes is a disease of not being able to manage sugar. So how do you turn around and say that eating excessive amounts of eating sugar period isn't causing diabetes? So something else is causing you not to be able to manage the sugar. So again, it's amazing to me that they're able to have that written on a website and not have been flagged for misleading people. And
I'm just gonna go through that. I just saw it right now. How the body uses sugar for energy. All carbs, sugars, and starches are eventually converted by the body to glucose, the body's main energy source. And you just said that, but that's not bad. Organs like the brain and red blood cells rely primarily on glucose to function.
So again, that's not completely true. So the brain does have a few parts of it that rely on glucose, but of course, it's not the entirety of your brain. That's why we do so much better on fat. And yes, red blood cells function on glucose, but that's why our body makes them.
Okay.
So still no need to eat them.
Glucose is also the main energy supply to support intensive physical activity.
So now they're talking about the fact that when your muscles are actually picking up something heavy in a moment, yes, it's using glucose, but your body makes it and replenishes it if you don't eat any. So that doesn't, it's not a false statement, but it just
Okay. If you eat excess calories from carbs, your body stores the extra energy as glycogen or fat for use at a later time.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true. Problem is that we never get to that fat to use at a later time.
Mm-hmm.
So calories from fat and protein also get stored as fat in the body.
That is also true. What they're not saying, though, is that if I eat anything more than 20 grams of carbs in a day, I'm automatically storing the rest as fat versus, you could power your entire day on fat and still not have to store any. The other thing they're not saying is that the only way to access those fat stores is to not have carbohydrates there, because your body needs to get those carbohydrates out of the system because they're toxic. So if I keep eating those carbs, I never get to use those fats that you stored away for another time. Versus every day, my body goes in and uses some of the carbs that are stored in my muscles because I use my muscles every day. You can't get out of bed to go pee without using some of those carbohydrates. You can get out of bed to go pee without using the fat, which is why we keep building it up and building it. As soon as you start your day, as a matter of fact, while you were sleeping, when you tossed, you were using some of those carbohydrates. It's so difficult for people to navigate this when you have articles like this that are giving you false information, or not false, but convoluted information. Because one of the things that they're not helping you to understand is that in my everyday, as I'm moving around and I'm using my carbohydrates, if I don't eat any carbs, then as I'm doing stuff, my body will pull some energy out of storage, so fat, to help me to manage to do all the things that I need to do. And if I keep not eating any carbs, then my body will say, we could use a little, and it will be making some carbs to replenish what I did use if I picked up something heavier. So it's you're constantly replacing your carbohydrates, but you don't constantly replace your fats unless you need to replace them. So what that means is that if I've actually lost enough weight that my body goes, hey, we need to start storing this again, your body's going to start storing it again. It will not let you like you will feel hungry and you will eat, right? Your body's not going to let you go down to not enough energy to survive. So it's really important for us to, like, when we see stuff like this, to just
This one is interesting
question.
because like most of them are not lies, but they're half-truths. You know, like they don't give the whole situation,
Yeah.
but like just enough to confuse people. Because like in a big bold like square here, I have the body has several mechanisms to ensure an adequate and constant glucose supply to the brain to support mental work. And that's it, whether you have carbs or don't have carbs. If you don't have like the excess carbs in your body, it's gonna take it from proteins, I guess, or
But
fat
what's
even.
interesting there is that they're putting it in bold as if that means you need to eat
Yeah.
them, which in actuality is the opposite. That means you don't.
Myth number 5: sugar is hidden in foods and provides empty calories. Truth: sugar plays many roles in foods beyond just sweetness and calories.
What else does it do?
Okay, do you want to know what else does it do?
Yeah.
Helps to balance flavor. So a little
Isn't
bit
that
of
about
sugar.
sweetness?
So a little bit of sugar balances the acidity of tomato and vinegar-based product, such as dressing and sauces.
Can I just add that tomatoes are high in sugar? So you're saying you need to add sugar to the sugar?
To the acidity. No, just to balance out the acidity. But
No,
that's
but-
kind of
but-
crazy. Yeah, I know.
Okay.
It helps. It helps improve the taste of high fiber foods. A small amount of sugar can improve the flavor of high fiber
I'm sorry,
sources,
but have we not just had 2 answers that's about sweetness?
such as bran cereal and oatmeal.
Wait, have we not just had 2 answers that are about sweetness?
Yeah.
It said there's not
But
just
it's
about
not
sweetness.
It's about taste. It's not
I'm sorry,
sweet.
that's sweetness.
I know. I'm just being like, it helps add color to baked goods. When heated, sugar caramelizes, browning the surface of cakes, bread, and cookies. That's an essential part of anyone's diet. See? It helps create texture and mouthfeel. So
Okay.
it's all like taste. Sugar helps provide the soft structure in baked goods and the smoothness in frozen dairy products. And it helps naturally preserve jams. Sugar absorbs extra moisture to prevent bacteria from growing in jams and
That's the-
preserves.
That's the first one that they said that I could actually see a reason. That was the one that they said that I could say, okay, that's not about flavor or taste or whatever. Like that one, yeah, it's a preservative.
Oh. And that last one is good actually because we kind of like use it a little bit. Sugar feeds yeast in fermented foods, which is an essential step in making bread and other baked goods. Not bread, like if you want to do your kombucha, we use sugar, but like we make sure that there's not a lot of sugar left, like at the end of the brewing stage. So yeah, sugar play many roles in food beyond sweetness and calories, but most of them are relating to taste, and just develop new taste. Basically, just like develop your unsweetened taste.
How about
and you're gonna be
this?
fine.
How about this? How about allow food to be fuel and building blocks and get your fun with people, activities, and hobbies? How about that? How about stop trying to make food about fun and entertainment, which is like this is completely about trying to convince people don't give up on sugar because it's fun.
Yeah.
Like
So,
really?
so that was my fun topic today about sugar, about like an industry wanting to keep the sugar in food and keep us fat and keep us on medication and keep us like dead basically. So
One thing that they didn't mention in this article is that sugar is very addictive. It's nowhere in
Yeah,
there.
true.
But of course, this is the Canadian Sugar
Canadian Sugar Institute.
Institute. So I guess they're not going to talk about how addictive their product is. But I'm going to say
You go
it.
to sugar.ca.
Sugar is very addictive. And so they're trying their best to keep us eating it. I think it's a bad idea. I hope you guys think it's a bad idea.
So if you want to have some fun, go to sugar.ca. Like they have like that
It's
little
actually
sugar.ca.
Okay. If you found this video helpful and want to contribute to the production of videos, Patreon links, Amazon links, Teespring links in the description below. I want to thank you for watching Mind Blowing Health and Wellness with Violet, Pat Chat Edition. More videos that you can watch right here. Thank you. Can't wait to talk to you guys again next week.
See you next week.